Morning. This morning's Love Morning is brought to you by Halcyon's P-Jug Solution. That's right. Halcyon's P-Jug Solution. Don't let your urine smell ruin your Burning Man. This is a daily practice of gratitude and connection. I usually start off with a song that I make up on the spot. So, melody and words, here we go, we're singing a song now, it's gonna be real fun. And if you've got some gratitude to share, we welcome to hear from everyone. It's a time for us to share the good stuff that's inside. Make sure you're sharing good stuff. We don't want to hear what's not because it's Love Morning. Love Morning now. Good morning. Hi, I am John Halcyon. We are live on Facebook and YouTube, and you might be watching this recording, to which I say hello. Good to see you wherever you are. Please say hello, leave a comment, share what you're grateful for. Welcome, Gerbot. Welcome, Jason. I do have an intention of talking quite a bit about Burning Man today. I've got lots on my mind about Burning Man. So if you are like, I came for the gratitude, in 3 hours, every day at noon, there is a Zoom gratitude gathering. Lasts between 10 and 30 minutes. Join me there at zoom.hugnation.com, or you can find all my links at lifestudent.com. We'll get you to the gratitude circles, to this, to the YouTube, to burner prep, all the good stuff. Good morning, Sid. Good morning, Razorblade. Good morning, B. Hello to you in Switzerland. Yay, Switzerland is here. Where else are people from? We got Razorblade in Australia. I'm in San Diego, California. We welcome Brian. Welcome Michael. Welcome Elizabeth. Welcome Bill. Elizabeth is grateful for living on this beautiful planet. Oops. And Bill's beginning to freak out about Burning Man prep. Half crying this morning. Grateful for ice cream, gummy savers, and a journey home. Sid is from Durango, California, or Colorado, excuse me. Oops. Don't tell anyone in Colorado that I messed up Colorado and California. Brian is grateful for my coming move. Good luck, good fortune, good health to you in your move. Sean's here in Seattle. Quentin is here. Good morning. Dan is in London. Sweet. Gerbot is grateful to be finally home. Welcome home. Good morning, Kiri. If I missed you, I apologize. Feel free to say hello again. I am grateful for the invigorating charge that I have regarding Burning Man and rekindling my passion for it recently. There's been some things that have happened in the community that have been difficult, and I've enjoyed this feeling of caring, like of believing in something enough that I want to protect it. Good morning, Carla. Good morning. I am so grateful that I am feeling better and feeling so optimistic and excited to go to Iowa and visit. I should warn you that I have hired a private tutor and I have been practicing card games 12 hours a day for months. So just be ready. Painey is in Tashbish. Wow. Which is in Malta. We are international. Can we just take a moment of gratitude for that we have the technology to connect and be connected to this vibe of gratitude and connection? And I think definitely a little Burning Man vibe in there. Burning Man has been the inspiration to so much in my life, which is why I'm enjoying this resurgence of passion around it. This year's been one where I felt somewhat disconnected to Burning Man. I have stepped away from the camp that I helped form, Pink Heart, And some people think, oh, is there drama? Absolutely not. I go to the meetings. I'm planning on spending much of my burn at Pink Heart. I'm just not camping there this year. I'm taking a break from that experience of being so kind of submerged into camp stuff, which I love, but I'm just taking a break from it. And so my heart is still quite pink, even though I'm not camping with them. Sean is focusing on crapper cone. Love it, Sean. Good to see you. Neck is grateful the van is packed for Burning Man. Wow, you are packed? Wow. Bravo. Kiri is grateful that I found out an artist that I hoped would play a show at the Burn this year will, in fact, be there. I kind of hate knowing this early, but at least I get to see them. Ooh, there's the rub. And that's something that's what I want to talk about more about. Thank you, Kiri. I'm not feeling 100%. I'm feeling that I'm on the healing path. So I'm out of that pit of future tripping despair of like, oh man, I'm gonna have to cancel trips. I'm gonna have to cancel Burning Man. I'm gonna have to cancel the rest of my life and just be in pain forever. Good morning, Juan. Good morning, Nika. Michelle says, I am grateful for the man crew. I was out at the man base last night and it looks incredible. Oh. So we have Switzerland, Malta, Australia, London, Black Rock City all represented today. Yay! Amazing. Bill asking, are you going to be on Esplanade? I am camping this year with Burners Without Borders. So just a block away from Pink Heart, I will be at 345 Esplanade with Burners Without Borders, a camp that dear to my heart, that I absolutely am so proud to be with Burners Without Borders, and so blessed to be still so welcome and such a part of Pink Heart. Nika says, I love your necklace. I felt, I've been saying some critical things about the Burning Man org, and I wanted to establish that I love Burning Man. I love all those that are working for the man. I have no anger towards anyone in Burning Man. I just feel like if you care about something, you fight for it. Quentin says, it's good to change things up just for the hell of it every now and then. That's an interesting statement. Like when Pink Heart was moved off Esplanade for the first time, they're back on Esplanade this year at 445. But when they were moved off Esplanade, one of the reasons given to me was like, sometimes you just got to mix things up. And my argument was, well, it's an iterative city, which means if something works, you build off of it. You don't just destroy something that works for the sake of mixing it up. But it's there's arguments to be made on both sides. Faith stumbled here on accident. Well, let us catch you. Faith is grateful for 3 weeks alone with her son. Sending us love from Key West. Thank you. Good morning, Jacqueline. Good morning, Kate. So this is a daily practice of gratitude and connection. Every day at 9 a.m. I do this. And then there's a noon Zoom circle of gratitude. But it's also an opportunity to just share and speak what's in your mind and heart. And so I want to talk. Maybe I should. I've got so many things I want to talk about. Take a breath, John. So, let me read some more gratitudes. Brian is grateful to have seen some amazing burner tents from No Bake, which my roommate needs a new pole for. And whatever brand her awesome shiny tent is, sweet Burning Man tech here with my roommate. Nice. Okay. All right. Leland, good morning. Going to be at 4 o'clock Esplanade. Where are you? Northwest Mist. Oh, yeah. I saw that you guys are our neighbors. Awesome. Okay. So Nika's asking, is everyone saying Burning Man is ruined because of the list of people that are playing? Okay. Yes. So let me take a pause and take a step back. Okay. I'm going to explain what I think is happening. It seems pretty obvious that there's a It seems pretty obvious that Burning Man ticket sales are lower than expected and maybe lower than required. And the Burning Man organization is trying to adjust policies so that they can get more ticket sales. That is an assumption. That is not something that has been shared in the spirit of transparency. What has been shared are some new policies like, hey, anyone can buy a ticket now. You can buy one on the website. You don't have to register. No lottery. You can buy it on the website. In fact, you can buy it from in Reno on your way there. There are physical places you can go buy a Burning Man ticket. That has not happened for over 10 years, 12, 14 years, something like that. Not since Burning Man has sold out. So Burning Man is not sold out. And so there's this scrambling of trying to sell more tickets. I'll first talk with the selling tickets on the way there or on the website right now. The pro is that radical inclusion, anyone can go to Burning Man. That's fucking awesome. That's how it used to be. All you had to do is decide, I'm going, and then buy a ticket. The last 6 years, this would happen all the time. People go, oh man, I want to go. What do I need to do? And I'm like, you really can't right now. I mean, you could try to get a ticket, but plan for next year and then do these steps so that you could be in a better position to get a ticket. Okay, so it's great that anyone can go. The con of that is that because the previous year's scarcity, groups, theme camps, projects generally have had to buy all the tickets they can so they can get as many of their campmates as possible into the event. So many camps have additional tickets that in years past you could get rid of because of the scarcity. So you go, oh, we can't use these 5 tickets, these 2 tickets, this 1 ticket. And people are like, oh, I want to go. I've been waiting. I knew if I had faith, I could get a ticket. Believe it, and you're going to get a ticket. Just know you're going to go and you're going to get a ticket. And that has always been what has happened. Now there's all these theme camps and people that have had extra tickets trying to be responsible leaders that are holding tickets that can't sell them because if you're a random person, you're just going to buy it on the website. Okay, it's made worse because the organization did a not great job this year with distribution of tickets, physical tickets in the mail. So I just got mine the end of last week. So there are people who are still waiting for their tickets. There are people that had to leave for the event that haven't got their tickets. So if you bought extra tickets with the thought that you might be able to sell them if you don't need them, you've been screwed because you don't have them. You can't resell them before you have it. And now the org is selling more tickets. So you now have these tickets that are, which is, it's not like it's free. These are what, $500 something? Okay. So that's the con of that situation. The other big situation is that apparently the org reached out to some of the large sound camps and said, hey, if you want to announce your lineups now, go for it. But please, in your social media posts, and I'm paraphrasing, make a picture of Burning Man first and then your lineup. So don't just post it as a lineup. They're trying to kind of soften this shift in policy. Shift in policy? Yes. It used to be a rule that the sound camps were forbidden for announcing in advance their lineups. They could announce it the week before the burn. And the reasoning was we're trying to avoid the situation of Burning Man being a music festival where you've got an event that promoters get talent to lure people to buy tickets. It's a transactional, commodified experience. The commodity is the events, the groups, the entertainment, and the consumer buys a ticket and plays the role of consumer to be entertained. And if you have camps going, look who's going to be here, all your favorites, and you elevate the situation of you got stars, creative artists, and then you got audience. The magic of Burning Man is because that dynamic, that model is obliterated. And so the flyers, the letting people know who's going to be there, it starts to change that dynamic. The other downside of that is you have people who might see the lineups, and people go to see their favorite DJ. Just like if you're a promoter, you put a big name DJ to try to get people to buy tickets. There's a real danger when that being the motivating factor to bringing someone in. It could also be the great thing. It could, it is radically inclusive. We have a faith in the community that if people are there and they don't quite get it, being there will help them get it, right? I didn't get it my first year. But when you have an influx of people who are bypassing acculturation, who are going there thinking they're getting a music festival, going there as a consumer to see the musicians that they like, they have no motivation to learn about the 10 principles. The danger of them not understanding leaving a trace, the danger of them not understanding participation and decommodification is way higher. And the burden on the community to try to get them in line, get them understanding, gets higher and higher and higher. And it can be overwhelming if there's too many people that don't get it. So this is the danger of lineups. It seems like a simple thing, and people are like, what's the big deal? I don't look at it right. And the community is stronger the more people we have that are not searching the event for the entertainment that they want. It's fine if you do that. If you get the if you get the Rockstar Librarian, which is a listing of all the people playing, and you want to go see your favorite artists, I don't fault you for that. I think you are missing out on what makes Burning Man incredible if you make that your primary objective. There's countless events that you can go to see the artist you like. I don't know anything like Burning Man where you can be exposed to the long tail of creative brilliance and discover artists that are not within the celebrity structure of the world. Okay. So I'll take a breath and look at comments, see if anyone is hearing me or if I'm being redundant. And I'm just going to glance, so I apologize if I don't read everything. Okay. So people say that it doesn't bother me or it doesn't affect me. To which I say, me neither. I'm not going to look at the lineup, but there's this slippery slope idea. And just conceptually, if we are turning into a attraction-based event, that's dangerous. You can say, well, what about the art promotion, and that we try to promote the art that's going to be there. Yeah, it's kind of like why you don't need a White Pride Month. You don't need Music Promotion Day for people to want to go see their favorite musical artists. You do need art promotion. You do need people to be steered towards what's exciting about Burning Man. And it's kind of that idea of we've fallen into this trap of bigger, better is more is greater, better, bigger, better, more, bigger, better, more. Burning Man is not better because it's bigger, because the art is bigger, the art is more expensive. That doesn't make it better. What makes Burning Man better is the connection to the creative spirit, to the waking up of your inner artist. I think we want fewer big name artists. We want smaller art. We want more people to be like, oh, wait, I could do that. Not, oh, I got a good seat for the DJ Rigga Ragga. By the way, my apologies to DJ Rigga Ragga if I didn't mean to make fun of your name, if you are in fact a real DJ. And the other thing is there's this whole aspect of Burning Man where everyone contributes how they can. The organization is not responsible for promoting the content of the festival. The organization is responsible for the infrastructure. They create the roads, the sanitation, emergency services, right? And then they give art grants for the public places, the public art. It's like a city. So the tickets are much more like taxes. Buying a ticket to Burning Man is paying your taxes. And when the reason to buy a ticket becomes to get the big name entertainment, it changes the mentality by which you are contributing. If you remember during COVID, Burning Man couldn't happen. It put Burning Man in a financial tight spot. And so they asked people, like, can you just donate the money from your unused tickets rather than get a refund? Will you just give us the money? Because we need it to survive. In fact, could you donate more? And many, many, many people did. That was a transparency expression. What really got my goat about the announcement that was sent to the theme camps is they said, in the spirit of transparency, we should let people know what beautiful offerings are going to be on Playa. I'm paraphrasing. But in the same sentence of saying, in the spirit of transparency, they did not mention anything about the motivation for this change in policy is because we need to sell more tickets because we're in financial struggles. What if they told the community, hey, we're in financial struggles. This is the year to tell your friends, please go to Burning Man. Go to Burning Man. What if that was the way that they went about it? What if they said, hey, we are screwed. Can you help us out? And that has been historically a part of Burning Man. There was a very early year before I went, 98 was my first year, when allegedly there was a shakedown by local law enforcement, and Larry Harvey drove around, stood on a top of a truck and said, we no longer have the money to pay the vendors. We're going to be bankrupt if people don't chip in. And people did. I would do that for the Burning Man organization, for this community. I would not do that for the Desert Rave Music Festival. I also wouldn't put so much of my own money, time, and passion to bring whatever my creative art is. My costuming, my pink ride, my talks, my Halcyon's Pea Jug solution, which is a sponsor of this broadcast. That's right. This broadcast is sponsored by Halcyon's Pea Jug solution. I'm kind of ranting. All right, I'm gonna take a break and try to read up on what people are saying. And actually, let me also say that I am ranting because I'm passionate and I care about Burning Man. I believe that Burning Man is the most important thing I've ever been involved with. I've dedicated countless, like a percentage of my life. A legitimate percentage of my life has been dedicated to Burning Man, to promoting the 10 principles, to acculturating people, to try to bring the 10 principles and Burning Man into the world. I believe that following the 10 principles is a world-changing opportunity. So to say like, well, maybe we can kind of compromise a little bit to sell more tickets, like, oh, well, but if we sell more tickets, we can get more of this and we can do, like, you don't change the world with a great business plan. You change the world with vision and ideals and ideas that shake the foundation of who people are and make them see, oh my gosh, there is a power, there is an inspiration in the integrity of this type of expression and being and supporting. And then you can snap out of the commodification, the culturalized principles of the default world of like, well, bigger, better, more. Like, no, you can actually live a powerfully important, meaningful life by following the metrics that Burning Man helps you see, which is creation, which is supporting others in their creation, which is authenticity, radical self-expression. And so when you start to say, well, yeah, but what does it really matter? Yeah, but it lost its magic a long time ago. Burning Man has been losing magic as it evolves. And it's still worth protecting and trying to say, like, could we do it differently? Could we notice when we're being seduced by default world pressures and say it's too dangerous to start going down that path? I mean, Burning Man could solve their money problems if they had a Pepsi booth, sponsored by the Temple Experience, sponsored by the Church of Latter-day Saints, but that would not be worth it. Kiri's saying, I don't think the Rockstar Librarian leaves room to sway people's decision to buy tickets. Right. I don't know exactly when the Rockstar Librarian comes out, but it's very late. And that's all intentional. The organization puts this pressure on the theme camps. And up until this year, they've said, you will have consequences. If you start promoting early, it'll affect your placement, and you'll have consequences, because to do so would have all these effects that I've mentioned on the vibe of the event. And we want to protect the event. So please don't do that. At the last week, you can make the announcements. And I think it's the last week that the librarian publishes her listings. Thank you, Kate. So it's and even if you say, well, what's the difference between 1 week and 2 week? It's the difference of changing a policy, saying it's in the spirit of transparency, but not being transparent about it. That's my issue. All right. Oh, thanks for what did you say? Make Friends Radio said, you can pee into that? Actually, it's funny. I brought, this is my pee jug. I use a kitty litter. This is the best pee jug you can get. Look at the size of that opening. I mean, I still have to kind of really shoehorn my penis into it, but that works great. And if you see me on Playa and you are a pee jug user, make sure you ask me about Halcyon's pee jug solution. Why can I not get that to focus? Halcyon's pee jug solution. And it's give you a chance to read this label. Do not ingest or boof. Kate says, any magic, big or small, is worth protecting. I really like that. Thank you, Make Friends Radio. Thank you, Kim. See, the hospital ones, though, the lids don't screw on. I just don't trust that a pee lid won't pop off if I drop it. Leland, I cannot endorse the injection of pee jug solution. By the way, it's the blue stuff that you see in a porta potty. That's what it is. I just put it into tiny bottles so that you can put a squirt into your pee jug. After you dump it into the porta potty, then you squirt a little bit of that into it, and it avoids the end of the week satanic conjuring that happens when urine starts to ferment. Danny says, I disagree that the burn has been losing magic as it has grown. You may have to look a little harder for it as you wade through all the extra people, but there is still magic everywhere. I think we're saying the same thing. Having dissipated magic or having to wade through more of the non-magic, that's what I'm talking about. I strongly agree that the potential for transformation is still better than anything else I know on the planet at Burning Man. It is still so worth going. It is still so worth protecting. But with every slight compromise, with everybody that says, well, we're going to hire staff to build our camp and cook our food. What's the big deal? It's like, well, now you have these classes of, it's a little different, it does. And then these little things. So yeah, we roll with it, you evolve. And when you can, if you notice that a shift or a change has energetic or cultural consequences, decide, is that really what we want to be doing? Kiri confirms that, yeah, the Rockstar Librarian is published during Build Week. Yeah, thank you. Elizabeth saying, by educating the world about what Burning Man is, it would help remove some of the stigma around going, and it would help spread the values of Burning Man. Well, that's a good idea. Someone should do that. I have been making Burning Man videos for 22 years. And my newest project is Burner Prep on Instagram, where I'm making nice, short, digestible videos about the principles, I published one today about the temple, which please go to Burner Prep on Instagram and let me know. It uses footage from Jamin Percy, who's amazing. I also have a whole website, playaprinciples.com, that has a Burning Man boot camp for people that want to learn, and 50 some odd videos about culture and principles and what Burning Man is. I agree. I agree so much so that I spent more time in the last 20 years trying to do that than anything else in my life. And I believe it's been time well spent. Anyone else have thoughts on this or gratitude that they want to share? Luann is saying, the amazing culture of Burning Man is no longer in sync with the Burning Man org. The org and culture function very differently these days. It would be wonderful if they were on the same page. And I want to give the org a break. So I have had the opportunity to go to the Burning Man, the staff retreat on multiple times. And it was so illuminating to me. And I was so grateful that I do not work for Burning Man, because as a participant, I have the luxury of just focusing on sticking to the 10 principles. I want to create, and it's like a break from the default world. I save money during the year so that I can do this stuff for a week and focus on the principles. And if you are part of the organization, you do not live in that vacuum. You have to deal with budgets. You have to deal with regulatory stuff. You have to deal with local politicians. You have to deal with permits. You have to deal with a lot. And so it is within that context that I have so much compassion for the org. And still, so I respectfully and lovingly speak my mind when I disagree. And I wish that they use the terms in the spirit of transparency. I think they've not done a good job at many times in the past of not being transparent enough and not giving the community the trust, the benefit of our collective intelligence. Now, to be fair, there are many times in the community does not demonstrate a whole bunch of collective intelligence, and there's somebody in the community is angry about everything. So I can understand why they might want to not show all their cards. But I also think that Burning Man attracts and creates a community of people that is very savvy. And so so resistant to spin. And I think that it damages the culture, it damages the movement to avoid transparency. And perhaps if we are given transparency and it collapses, it's supposed to. I don't think the organization's purpose is to be our parents doing what's best for us. Even if well, we know what's best for you. Convince us. I think we're smart. Convince us. Explain to us why it's best. When they said don't go out to Black Rock Desert during COVID, I said, okay, explain why. I trust you. Turns out there was some of that information that was kind of spun. I still think it was the right decision, but build trust, and the potential is so much greater. Gerbot says, I am grateful for the org and all the work they do to provide us this wonderful crucible of experience each year. Hallelujah. And I also want to mention that, Burning Man is not just Black Rock City. Burning Man is also the regional events. And the regional events have much different relationships to many of these policies and principles. Some of the policies are dictated by the org, like no commerce, no vendors. And some are decided by the events, like how art grants are given. Like Loveburn does a thing where they say, if you're going to bring art, we're going to give you this amount of tickets that you sell, and you keep all the money for that. And a huge amount of their budgetary processes, it goes into art, way more, much higher percentage than Burning Man or the Black Rock City. Elizabeth said, that is called paternalism. It takes away trust that people are able to make good decisions that are in their and everyone's interest. Oh my gosh, I love that you said paternalism, because when I was a senior in college in 1993, yeah, my honors thesis and paper and experiment that got published was called Paternalism and Substance Attitudes. Just say no if you say so. And I interviewed people about a new drug, and in half the people I described it as a legal drug and half as illegal, and then the same descriptors of health and things like that. And if I said that it was legal, what do you think? Do people think it was more or less dangerous than the illegal? People thought the illegal drug was more dangerous because they trust and they believe that the government is paternal and will protect you. And when you can look at things like alcohol and cannabis and know that until very recently, cannabis rules changing, but alcohol is clearly more medically health dangerous than cannabis. So, okay, I'm digressing a little bit. Head On with Michael says, my first year was 2010. I walked up to the gate, $280. Now it's doubled plus tax and fees. That's a huge issue for me and inviting others. I will return though. Yeah, well, 2011 was the first year it sold out, and that changed the dynamic of the whole event in terms of scarcity and radical inclusion. And then there's scalping and all. There's a massive amounts of dynamic change, and which I explained in the other video that one of the things that happened with scarcity is they discovered that not enough. There were many big projects and theme camps that didn't get enough tickets, and so that we can't run Pink Heart with 20 people, and that's all the tickets we got in the lottery. Or we've got this massive art project. We need 15 builders. We only got 5 tickets. And so the org that they changed so they have these distributed tickets that are reserved for theme camps, art projects, mutant vehicles, things like that. So then it became a situation where the safest way to get a ticket was to be involved with a project. And so people that were in theme camps, unofficial theme camps for years, that just drove in and set up their theme camps, realized that if we become an official theme camp, that's the only way to guarantee tickets. So the percentage of people that are part of official theme camps just exploded. You want to go to Burning Man? You got to be a part of theme camp. So people started making more plans and more paperwork, and so that changed the dynamic again. So it's interesting how these incentives shift. And so I get that it's an experimental thing, and like we're shifting, but there's now factors in the world such as COVID, super hot year, rain year, economy, and the organization is not is trying to work with a problematic budget, I'm guessing. Glenn says, my reference is a local group, the Port Townsend Maritime Foundation, formerly Wooden Boat. It has followed a similar arc from idealistic amateurs to soulless drones in charge. And you could argue that that is the arc of all organizations, all businesses, is that you start with passionate founders with a vision, and as they grow and responsibilities get handed down and inherited, and the pressures start to erode some of the ideals. I mean, look at the idealism of the founding of the United States of America, and what we seem to witness today. Or if you've ever been part of a startup, the vibe and integrity of people in their basement versus when you are getting ready to IPO. Has anyone else been a part of that? It's like, oh, but man, it is. I don't fault Burning Man for it. In fact, it's especially difficult for Burning Man because of these wild attempts to follow the 10 principles. I so appreciate and admire the efforts. Let's see. Danny says, but weekend festivals cost well in excess of $200 these days. You simply cannot expect to have the kind of infrastructure that Burning Man provides for that little. And I actually don't have an issue with the cost of Burning Man. They're pretty transparent about the financials. If you want to see how the money is spent, I get why it's so expensive. And I feel like if you want to get into transactional equations, what you receive for your $600 is insane because it's not provided by the org. The $600 is your taxes for the city, and then you get to experience the incredible contributions of your fellow citizens. And I mean, if you were to go camping at a campground for a week, that's not free unless you are boondogging. If you were going to stay in a hotel for a week, a motel for a week, that would be more expensive than that. If you were going to go wander around a food festival every day and sample foods at a beer tasting or something, that is expensive. And you get to do all these things. It is expensive, but to me, the value part is that's a non-issue. It's worth it. Just what it is. Gerbot says, wouldn't it be great for us participants if the event didn't sell out every year? I'm looking forward to this year. I agree 1,000,000%. I don't think Burning Man should be something that is trying to recruit people and get people there. Built into the principles is the idea that, we don't market. It's a dangerous place to have growth and size be a value of success. Burning Man works if the people who are there want to be there and are motivated to add to it and bring their magic and deal with the costs financial, energy, blood, sweat, tears. And if not enough people are up for it, it should be smaller. The art should be smaller. The population should be smaller. The danger that I believe are happening is that the Burning Man organization, as a corporation, a nonprofit, has a structure in place where their budget requires a sellout. I don't know. You're now outside of my realm of expertise, but I think that's a dangerous place. When there's too much pressure in that realm, and Burning Man has always been an antidote for that in the world. And I get how that's at odds. That kind of decommodification is part of the principles, and it's the world that the organization has to live in. Part-Time says that 10 years ago, the porta potty contract was $850,000. Wonder what it is now. You know what? I'm gonna put a bid in. I'm gonna offer to do the portos for half that. Show Me the Pony says maybe they could spend some of that money supporting the mutant vehicles. And this is another thing that was come up when the sound camps don't get any art grants. And one of the arguments has been like, it's the most popular thing at Burning Man. Why don't they get financial support? Why doesn't some of the ticket money that goes to support artists go towards the music artists? Which I think is a valid complaint. But I agree that the org should not be supporting the sound camps because they don't need to be supported. It's already growing kind of at I would argue, too dramatic way. It's the music sound camps have taken a larger percentage of the energy of the event than I wish it was. So I don't think I think the event needs to try to balance that out and amp the art up, non-sound art up, to try to deal with the human tendency to like loud music and blinky lights. Jesse says, do you ever think that the principles conflict with each other? Like if you prioritize one principle, you deprioritize another principle. Like not allowing bike rental on Playa due to decommodification has led to lots of moot people leaving bikes behind. There's more. I feel like there is a lot to balance with so many principles. And I love that you brought this up because absolutely. And it's by design. I'm going to leave that up for a second. So I went to a week course at Esalen about the history of Burning Man. And there were classes by some of the founders, and we went through the 10 principles and deep dive into them. And they absolutely conflict. The whole concept of the principles is supposed to be, well, there's a couple things. One, the principles were not established as a decree that this is what this event will be. The principles, I think, were written in 2004, long after the event's been going on almost 20 years at that point. Is that right? So the principles were what Larry Harvey wrote down to describe what made the event work. And so that's how the principles came. And they are intentionally they do give this, well, but if you are doing civic responsibility, then that kind of impedes on some radical self-expression. Some radical self-expression doesn't allow for, and so it is intended to be a place of dialogue and a place, a resource to have thinking conversations. And for the most part, I think it does an incredible job at that. Good question. Good comment, Jesse. Danny says they got used to selling out and budgeted based on that reality. They are now dealing with a different reality. It's challenging to not have the visionary spirit of Larry Harvey to lead the pivot. I'll agree with the first half, and I don't know about the second half. I mean, the Burning Man organization is filled with brilliant people with all sorts of types of visions. Danger Ranger is still a founder and an active part of the organization, and he has a very deep connection. So does Harley. Like everyone I know in the organization is super dedicated to the principles. It's just, it's they're also having to listen to and deal with all pressures that we don't even we're not privy to. Elizabeth correcting me that the principles were around in 2001. Okay. Really? Okay. Well, I will have to learn more about that. Any other questions or comments? It's almost 10 o'clock. Thanks for sticking with me. I do want to mention, I would love it if you would go to Instagram and look up Burner Prep and follow that and share with anybody in your camp that is either new or old. It's a great, like if you want to send something about the principles, there's little things to send, and they're short and easy to digest. And if you want longer ones, if you go to playaprinciples.com, it's got tons of longer form video that people can listen to while they're driving or whatever. And today is brought to you by Halcyon's P-Jug solution. Kiribut says, I love that Michael. Michael is Danger Ranger. He started the Rangers. He used to be the Rangers and then created the Rangers, which is this beautiful model of a layer between law enforcement and the community that is a community volunteer driven, just like a big brothers and big sisters, big siblings trying to that know a little bit and can help things stay smooth. And it's so beautiful. Danger Ranger is also the one that some of the early Burning Man videos that existed. There's one called, I think, Gifting It. I think that's what it's called. And they interviewed him, and he had this. I'm going to butcher it, but he said he goes, we have literally drawn a line in the sand, and that the line has become a circle. And we said, within this circle, we're going to follow these 10 principles and follow these different rules. And I love that idea. A line in the sand that became a circle. And Danger Ranger brought the burn to the playa. Danger Ranger was very active in the Cacophony Society. Burning Man, the first Burning Man it wasn't called Burning Man. It was called something else, but it happened on the beach, and then the Cacophony Society hosted an event in the desert. Zone trips. That's right. Thank you, part-time. Am I making the playa this year? I am. I'm taking a break from Pink Heart. There's no drama whatsoever. I've been going to the meetings, and I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time there. And I'm hosting the Pink Ride on Thursday. We'll be at Pink Heart at 445 Esplanade. But I am going to be camping next door at Burners Without Borders. So I will be at Burning Man for 3 full days. I should arrive Tuesday and leave before the man burns. Oh yeah, look at these historians. We got Zone Trip number 4 and Bad Day at Black Rock. I think, is that what it was called? The Zone Trip? And the Zone Trips were like these experiences where you were encouraged to get in the headspace that you were visiting another planet. I believe that was the vibe. But look up Cacophony Society if you're not familiar. The roots of Burning Man are totally cacophony. That Danger just said, once you cross this line, everything will be different. Yeah. Good morning, Michael. Michael says, why are you leaving before the man burns? A couple of reasons. One, I'd like to avoid a long exodus. I don't want to spend hours and hours trying to leave the city. Two, I am not planning on spending time in Reno and partying, which I used to do. So I don't need to time it to see everybody in Reno. Three, burn night. Oh, maybe I'll change my mind this year, but it tends to be a little wild and chaotic, and that's not necessarily my favorite part of the burn. Although now that I think about it, for the last 14 years, I have gone to bed early on burn night because Pink Heart breaks down Sunday morning. We start at like 7 a.m. or something like that. So maybe I will stay through the burn. I guess it depends on how I'll feel. I'm going to be there alone. My partner is leaving Friday, and then I'm going to be driving my RV home. So I could stay longer. I'm just, I'm preparing for 3 full days. I'm so glad to spend some time with you this morning. I'm excited about Burning Man, and I'm excited about the Burning Man community that exists in the world, and that there's so many people like you that are either curious or connected to 10 principles and all the ways that it kind of gives us permission to be and seek freedom and creativity and know that we're not alone, have that belonging feeling, that welcome home feeling in the world. So thank you for being a part of that. I'm going to be hosting a Pink Ride on Thursday. So if you are in Black Rock City, Thursday at noon at Pink Heart, would love you there. I'll give a talk first that will be, I've been doing it for many, 17, 18 years. And I'll basically share the deepest, most profound, vulnerable wisdom and lessons of the year. A lot about my grandpa and Burning Man, and then we'll get on our bikes and we ride through the town and say "I love you" or give a compliment to everyone we pass, and it is the highlight of my year. Jennifer says, "I'm always grateful for Burning Man." Kate says, "Thank you for these videos. It's going to be my first big burn, and these videos help me be excited over nervous." Yay! Well, that is my goal. I think it's impossible to prepare for Burning Man, but it can be very helpful to know more before you go, to understand your role as a participant, to understand the 10 principles. It's kind of like going to the Grand Canyon, where no amount of picture books is going to prepare you for the experience. But if you learn about good hikes, if you learn about the geology, if you learn about the history, it amplifies your experience and makes you more prepared so that you have a deeper understanding of what's happening and how you can more quickly become a part of it. Gearbot is grateful for the Burning Man community. It radically transformed my life. Me too. Me too. Michael says, "I am really excited to get to make a Big Heart portal this year and go on Pink Heart ride." Yeah, sweet. Is your Big Heart portal, is that placed art? Is that an official Burning Man project? Not Burning Man project, official art project going through the artery? I've never been a part of like an art project like that. I've been part of big projects as part of the camp, like our beacon and our heart arch, but I've never done art that's placed out on the playa. Occasionally when I get into a place of like, what do I still want to do with my life? What have I not done that I want to do? There's a part of me that's like, you could make big art. You could. So maybe. Part-time says, "It requires commitment. Volunteering for the org is the best way to see the inside of Burning Man." And 15 feet from the center camp entrance. Sweet. Well, I look forward to seeing that. Your heart portal. Thanks, Larry. And thanks. I especially since I spent a lot of time studying the history of Burning Man. I also enjoy personifying Burning Man founder as Larry Harvey, but I think it is really critical to recognize that the Burning Man that we know is the result of all the founders collectively. What we experience is not Larry's vision. It is Larry's spark and many people's visions and efforts and sweat and and worth it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Harley. Thank you, Danger Ranger. I'm trying to blank. Who are the founders? Thank you. This is why I don't ever mention. I never say names. I can only read them off screen. I probably should, before I finish, I should just look it up so I don't look like a. All right, we've got. Oh, Larry. Oh, come on. Crimson Rose, of course. Will Roger. Yes. All right. My apologies. If anyone's listened this long and you hear me stumbling, my apologies. Maid Marian. Of course. Who's the current CEO. Yeah. All of they have had to fight, and massive amounts of personal sacrifice to keep it alive. Well, if you are new here, we generally end these broadcasts with a group hug. I've been doing group hugs since 2005. Used to be with my grandpa, and now we do it. So wherever you are, give yourself a big squeeze, give yourself a hug. And as you are feeling yourself being held, imagine those arms holding you are me and everyone who's been here today, everyone who has ever been into this space. Feel yourself holding us as we hold you. Sink into that place of that shared humanity, that shared vision of what our best can be. Trying to let go of the frustration and the worry, and have some trust and belief and faith in ourselves and one another, have some patience for ourselves and one another, and try to be demonstrators of that, try to be ambassadors of that in the world as we go through it today, taking this collective energy that we've witnessed in one another and being ambassadors of that in the world. So let's take a deep breath in and squeeze. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb, Larry Harvey, and all of you beautiful love ambassadors, thank you for being here today for this Love Morning, this Hug Nation gathering. I love you. Every day at 9 a.m., I gather here, unless I'm not here. And also gratitude circles at noon in Zoom. And you can see all my stuff at lifestudent.com. Burner Prep is the Instagram. Always send me a message if you're like, wait, what was it that you said? How do I do? What's it? What's it? Who's it? Have a beautiful day. I love you. Are you going upstairs? Are you going upstairs?